Welcome to ARW. I'm Harold, and the disassembly and cleaning of the lathe is in full flow right now. Of course, I only work about 1 day out of 3, and on that 1 day I usually work about 3 hours, 2 to 4 hours. Let's put it like that, with most days being 2 hours. But progress is being made, and we'll get there. I've cleaned a lot of it, so let's just take a little tour of what's happened. The headstock is still on there because there's 2 bolts in it that I couldn't get to come loose. I got one of those Miller impact tools, you know, that comes with the drill, and it won't knock it loose. So I'm going to look around the garage and find one of the hammer knockers that I've got, and they're a much better impact tool. They bash downwards and turn at the same time, and that's taking a lot of things apart for me. So I'm not going to do that in this video probably, but it's one of the jobs I've got to do. With that piece of 1-by there, that will be the middle of it. I'll cut it in half. As you can tell by a close-up, it's got a lot of little metal chips in it. I had it laying on the floor by the lathe for months, and they just sort of got trampled in, but I don't think they'll bother anything. Okay, so the board measured out at 90.5 inches. So I marked it at 45 1/4. We're going to stuff it into the bandsaw and cut it. And I know it's a metal cutting bandsaw, but it'll do it. Turn it a little bit so that the room doesn't stick out. I don't know why everything is always so difficult, but it is. Alright, that ought to make it fit. Other than the lack of room in here, everything's pretty good. Although what you mainly need in the shop is room. Now let's see how close that comes. That's right on it. I've got pretty good at eyeballing this thing. Alright. Oh man, it's unplugged. Well, I gotta walk around all this stuff and plug it back in. Here it is. All right. There we go. We're plugged in now. It won't take but a second to cut this. What did I say? That was a little bit more than a second, but not much more. There. Now, try to put this back like it was. There we go. There's a pry bar under it. No wonder it didn't want to move. Alright. back to it. Alright, I'll put me a couple of holes in these boards so that I'll have a place to put the wheels. And so, yet another thing made from scrap, but I think it'll hold the weight, and it'll make it possible for me to get the thing outside where I can spray all the water and soap and super green or whatever it is. I can spray all that junk that I want to. Whoop, sorry about that. So, I guess. Okay, so I tried using the Milwaukee impact, the electric one there, and it couldn't take the last 2 bolts out. So I got the hammer driver right there, and I know good and well I've got a 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter someplace, but I couldn't find it. So I made a trip to Auto Parts and had about a set of 4 of them because they didn't have the one by itself. So now that we're into this spot, we're going to try to get those 2 bolts out. I think they'll come out, but who knows? I may break the adapter because I'm going to whack it pretty hard. If you've never used one of these are very handy. That's the right direction. It'll tighten and it will loosen. It's great for motorcycles because they have all those iron steel bolts in aluminum. I guess I should have marked it so I'd know whether it moved or not, but let me get something to mark it with. Another hopeless search. I don't have anything that I can mark it with. I think it's turning, but I don't know. Well, good. After all this crud in the floor. Alright. Shot hurts your hand. If you've never used one of these, first time you do use one, you'll think it's a miracle. Well, I can't tell it's doing anything. It's just hurting my hand. I think it's turning. Let me find out. Looks a bit Rube Goldberg, doesn't it? But I think that'll do it. I'll have to swing the head around a little bit so it gets out to the bolts, because they're all the way out at this left end over here. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so what we're going to do in part 3 will be to move the head over to one side and out some, so that it'll be over the bolts that need to have the end drilled out. Before we go to Bubba and see what he's up to, I'd like to talk about our national currency. It seems like that the current administration is considering changing us to digital currency. It means no more nickels and dimes, no more dollar bills, no 5s, 10s, 20s, whatever. It'll all be on a card. And that sounds pretty convenient. Sweden's already done it. But I would like to point out to you that once you get into that, the government will track every single penny that you spend. They'll know everything you buy, who you buy it from, who you give money to. There won't be a bit of financial privacy in your life, and more importantly, there won't be a bit of financial control in your life, because if they decide that you're a bad person and you need to be stopped from spending money, they just call the bank, say, Joe Blow over there, he's been up to illegal activities, we need to investigate him, freeze his account. So there you are. You won't be able to get anything to buy anything with. You won't be able to, they might let your account accumulate money, but you can't spend it. And that'll be rough when it comes time to pay the electric bill and it's 102 degrees outside. It'll be even rougher when it's time to restock the larder and buy some groceries, because nobody's going to sell you anything. You're going to be under the government's total control once you go to digital currency. And you need to look around and pay attention and maybe say something to your relatives and friends about it. Let them start thinking about it before it gets made into law. Once they've got your money, they got it. You ain't going to get it back. Okay? So now then, let's go to talk to Bubba, see what he's up to. Bubba, he's got this cousin lives in the city. His cousin named Charlie, and now and then he'll check with Charlie to see what's going on, And so he was down at the local beer joint there with his buddies and getting kind of bored, They're looking out at the road through the garage door, kind of front of the place, And so he calls up Charlie and he says, Charlie, what you doing? Charlie says, well, he was working on aquathermal treatment of ceramics, aluminum, and steel under a constrained environment. Well, Bubba probably hadn't even heard most of those words before, and he got all impressed with that, told all his buddies there in the beer joint what his cousin Charlie was doing. Well, Bobby Sue, she's sitting back there in the back, listening to all this, and she calls and talks to Charlie's wife, and she says, well, are you there with Charlie? And she says, yeah, I sure am. And she says, well, just what is it that Charlie's doing? And she says, I got Charlie washing dishes in hot water, and she says, and I'm keeping an eye on him, make sure he gets them clean. Well, it did fit the description.